I'm sure there's a saying that some smart person said one day, once upon a time, and I'm probably going to get it wrong, but the saying goes that you should always teach and share what you know. So tonight I'd like to share with you all a bit about emotional and binge eating, and I want to share with you guys about how I have dealt with it and maybe some tips and tricks to help you guys through it if you've dealt with it before yourself. Cool? All my pictures went funny, but I promise I was really cute. Okay, for as long as I can remember, I was called fussy. I blatantly ignored food my parents prepared for me. I would come home with a full lunchbox and keep them guessing as to whether I'd eaten that day or not. But let me loose in the kitchen on my own or leave me home alone for a few hours, and I was a Tasmanian devil, cooking up a storm and eating like the unattended child I was. Mind you, my parents ever rarely had junk food in the house apart from the occasional McDonald's as a treat. But I simply needed to control my food and have no witnesses to it. It took me many years to start to become aware of food. I was always super aware of my body and how much I disliked myself, but didn't seem to make the connection between what I was eating and the way I looked. Perhaps I just assumed this is the body I was given and that was it. Once I learned that what I ate and how I moved would determine the way my body looked, well, what changed? In a word, bugger all. I would still eat no breakfast, eat junk at school to avoid my parents' lunchboxes, then eat alone at home before anyone came home, and then hid in my room at dinner, perhaps only coming out if I knew I could eat by myself. Food and eating was always an isolating experience. I was, and still am, a bit of a one-woman wolf pack, and I suppose my eating is just a part of that. Beautiful. The older I got, the more sad I got. I felt out of place, alone, unsure of myself, and ugly. I had gone from a happy-go-lucky, mischievous, sassy kid to a depressed, reclusive, angry teenager. And no, that wasn't a phase. When I was 14, I was diagnosed with depression and medicated, along with intensive anger management and therapy. I just wanted to crawl into a hole and disappear. Life really sucked. And so the idea of nourishing my body and looking after myself went out the window. I didn't care about me, so any semblance of eating and living well disappeared. I stopped eating completely. When I did eat, it was loads of junk. McDonald's, steers, beer, tequila, cigarettes. Food was no longer a priority, but it didn't matter because I was in control. That's all I needed. My life was spiraling, but hey, at least I could control this. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't. That was also a nice picture. When I left varsity and I started to feel a little bit more happier with my life and myself, I started working as a bartender and then as a bar manager. The hours were long, I hardly ate anything and was on my feet for several hours a day. My body wasn't doing too bad. I felt good, but there was this niggling feeling in my head and in my heart that I wasn't living a healthy life. I still smoked like a chimney, and my food intake was limited to a pizza or burger from work on shift, and that was about it. Then I started real work, and that was just around the time I discovered the gym. But I took it to the extreme once again, gymming for hours every day in any spare time I had, eating matzo crackers with hummus and cucumber, and drowning my body with more than 6 liters of water a day. I'm not good with moderation. It's always all or nothing. I went whole hog and got so small that my family became genuinely concerned. Cool? Hey, he's here. Fast forward a couple of years and a couple of weight fluctuations, and I met my now husband, Juan, who's sitting over there. He's doing origami. When we met, we were both well focused on our health, and I was in the middle of a reboot. He was rocking a six-pack, and I was looking quite cute, really. Then we moved in together and got comfortable, and in all honesty, got lazy with cooking. And I reverted to the tiny meals, the hardly eating, too much junk, too much booze, blah, blah, blah. Have you noticed when I've been talking, I kept mentioning how little I was eating, that I picked, that I had 1 or 2 meals a day? While that's not untrue, the nature of the meals were not as they may seem. They were uncontrollable, they were manic, they were eaten in secret, they were rushed, and I can hardly remember most of them. It's like I went into I love food. Food was my happiness, my comfort, my release. My brain could switch off from the world, even for a brief moment. And so the more I ate, no matter how little I assumed I did, I just got bigger. I kept putting on weight. I kept training and nothing was changing. I was rebooting, I was paleoing, I was doing everything everyone said I should do, and nothing was changing. I had a breakdown in February 2016, a full-on plutz. I was sent to a therapist who also happened to be a dietitian because I was determined to figure this food thing out and get my head checked at the same time. And through several sessions with her, I was diagnosed with binge eating disorder. Through more than a year's worth of exploration and tears and medication, I've acknowledged that I have never had a good relationship with food. My eating was a band-aid to all the awful feelings I had, and so I ate and I ate and I ate to cover up how miserable and alone I felt. To explain what a binge for me was and is, as a lot of people have different understandings of what a binge is. A binge is not necessarily eating junk, it's eating a lot of something or some things, eating far more than you usually would during a normal meal or snack. An example that Juan was witness to, and Ilana's heard the story many times. We have a pantry at home, and I one day caught myself halfway through a bag of muesli that I'd eaten with my hands in about 5 minutes flat. Yeah. It's a completely uncontrolled consumption of any food, sometimes to the point of making you feel full and sick, and sometimes nothing touches sides. But I feel it's important to make it clear that a binge isn't just about junk food. So you've heard the story. How many of you here tonight can identify with anything I've just said? We can see that most of us have dealt with some kind of emotional or binge eating in our lives. Food as a comfort or a reward is a concept that a lot of us are very familiar with. Now, I'm going to try and share some tips with you that I've been taught over my journey that may be useful. Cool. So, acknowledge the feeling that comes up. Sad, depressed, lonely, happy, nervous. It can be really helpful to equip yourself with a really rich emotional vocabulary. It can be so helpful when you notice a feeling to be able to speak its name. In our coaching that we do, we use a principle called notice and name, which is exactly what it says on the box. Notice what comes up, notice how you're feeling, and then give it a name. A great tool that I was given and I think is really helpful is this called Plutchik's Wheel of Emotions. And basically what it is that the inside are some of the words that we probably learned when we were little children about the way we feel. So sad, happy, peaceful, whatever. And the further out you go are richer words. So sometimes it's not just sad that you feel. Sometimes it's a little bit more than that. Sometimes it's a little bit happy. And it's really nice to have better words to explain to yourself what you're feeling. Once you've noticed the feeling, do not Velcro to it. Simply know that that is what is up for you in that moment, and allow yourself to be in that feeling until it passes. Don't get consumed by it, because that can often lead to being swept away. A nice way to do this is to treat your feelings like guests at a guest house. Welcome them in and let them be and get on with whatever they need to do, and then let them go when they're done. You can even quietly say to yourself, welcome feeling. Don't judge the feeling, don't call it good or bad, don't fight it or try to escape it. Just be with it and let it pass or change. Give yourself a quiet moment to think whether the hunger you're feeling is body hunger or mouth hunger or emotional hunger. I've been taught to call it mouth hunger. Cool? Listen and feel for some physical cues of hunger, like your tummy rumbling, feeling a little bit tired, and maybe some groaning and croaking coming from your belly. Hear and feel that, and it's time to eat. Mouth hunger or emotional hunger is cravings, a desire for food, even though you aren't physically hungry. Or maybe the feeling you're feeling is making your tummy hurt and feel hollow, but you're not actually hungry. Are you even hungry for anything at all? Or are you just bored? Or do you feel like you have to eat because it's that time of the day? Really start to learn to understand your body with compassion and patience. Having a close relationship with your physical body is so important to achieving balance. If you're physically hungry, you do need to eat. Find something filling, nutritious, and something you will enjoy. It's important to put food on a plate or in a bowl. Some way of containing your food. If you're eating out of a packet or picking from another serving dish, you can tend to get carried away, and that's where that trance-like feeling comes in. Eat slowly and savor every single mouthful. Enjoy the taste and texture of each bite, and put your cutlery down while you're eating to ensure that you slow down a little bit. If you finish the plate or bowl and are still genuinely physically hungry, then dish up a little more onto that same plate and savor and enjoy it, and eat till about 80% full. There's never any reason to eat until you're so full you can't breathe or move. You are going to be able to eat again. If the hunger doesn't feel like true hunger, but rather something emotionally driven, you need to spend a few moments acknowledging that feeling, and as mentioned before, simply see it for what it is and let it be there as long as it needs to be. It's also important in these moments to perhaps try and occupy your mind while you let those feelings do what it needs to do. Oftentimes, doing something with your hands is great, but try not let it be something mindless. Cool. Try coloring in, or crochet or knitting, or even throwing a ball with a friend or family member, or even throwing it against a wall. Hashtag forever alone. Moments like these are also great. Moments like these are also great to get moving. A tool that I was taught on a retreat that I went to is called mindful walking. And basically it's just walking, but you just pay real close attention to your breathing and every step you take, and even 5 minutes of that's really helpful to just take yourself out of the moment for a little bit. Once you've made a real effort to practice some of these tools and tips, you will slowly start to notice yourself more. You'll be more comfortable feeling okay with feeling, and realizing that food is not going to make those feelings any easier to cope with. Anyone that can identify with anything I've just said in the last few minutes, please put your hand up and leave it up. Cool. Change picture. Okay, great. In closing, look around you at all those hands up. Do you see how many hands there are up right now? You are not alone. You are not weird. You are not broken or wrong because food is comfort for you. You are not a failure because you eat too much sometimes. You have everyone here with you in every moment of every struggle. Okay, those of you who all just put your hands up, by another show of hands, who of you intends to try some of these tips and help yourself address your emotional and binge eating? Each and every one of you with your hands up right now is powerful and brave and strong. By simply acknowledging an area you want to work on and making a true effort to work on it makes you a winner. Thank you.